Hello everybody. I hope you're having a blessed week. We're inside the week range of Christmas, so people should already be getting excited and planning the last details. I'm going to do the same thing that I did for Thanksgiving, is I'll do a simple meal for me and my son, who is, with the exception of me, by himself. His mother doesn't want to spend Christmas with him. Okay, speaking of mothers, we're going to talk about Mary. We've been talking about Jesus, so I think we need to talk about Mary. There is so much. There are volumes written about Mary. There's probably 10 sentences that really apply to her life. It is a little more than that, but I'm pointing out a very disparaging number here. There's more fiction written about Mary than about anybody else in the Bible. There's more religious belief about Mary than anybody else in the Bible, with the exception of Jesus. And there's a question of whether or not she's probably got more false information or fiction written about her. That's not to say she's not a good lady. Among the people on earth, she's been blessed multiple times. She knew who Jesus was growing up. The first miracle was prompted by Mary. That's at the wedding feast when they ran out of wine. Now, we don't know what kind of wine they have. We don't know. This is a wedding feast. This may have been, get 4 or 5 barrels of Ripple. I don't know. It won't be some French winery. It won't be champagne. They drank wine, just a quick aside, they drank wine for all their meals. Children did too. This was a very specific type of wine. The wine's purpose, the alcohol's purpose, was to kill pathogens that are in the water. So they have a very diluted version of it, and they drink it, and it's safe. And even the children drink it. And nobody's going to get drunk on it. Now, I'm assuming that that's grade 1. I'm assuming this is grade 5. I think Jesus gave them grade 10 when he turned the water into wine, because they've been drinking for a while to drink up all the wine that the host had. And the party wasn't over, but they drank up all the wine. So even if it was grade 5, it still had alcohol in it. They were feeling no pain. And Mary told the servants, go do what he tells you to do. She knew what he was capable of. And he turned that water into a wine that was better than what the host was serving. And those party goers at the party even told the host, this is amazing. Most hosts will serve their good wine first and downgrade it as people get drunk. You've saved your best for the last. Of course, Jesus created it. Okay, so Mary knew who he was from the beginning and forced him into doing his first miracle. And at a wedding feast, if you haven't seen the movie Before the Wrath, go watch that. It talks about a possible parallel between a Galilean wedding and Jesus' life, working with Galileans. It's an interesting take on it. But it's a take, it's an interpretation. I happen to believe it, but I can't back a whole lot of it up other than the things that have matched up. And I don't know how much of it's fiction and how much of it's real. I'm just saying it's a fun movie to watch. Okay, and it's got some of our famous people in it, like J.D. Farag and Jan. God, I can't think of her last name. I apologize. I'm terrible with names. But Jan's in there, who does the talk show, radio talk show. One of the other pastors from Southern California. Terrible. I won't go off on a tangent trying to show you how bad my memory is. Okay. Mary has had more stuff written about her. I'm reading, this is a excerpt from a piece I found online. And let's see if I can find. I am looking directly, literally, the sun's right there, at That's probably 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And you notice that the sky is blue. All the clouds are gone. Tonight will be very cold. I just went and bought a new heater. I got a little buddy heater because I'm at a campsite that's dry, literally. It's got water, but it doesn't have electricity. And last night was cold, but tonight's going to be even colder. So I got a little buddy heater so I can heat the place up. And I'm literally looking into the sun. Okay, so I'm reading this. I should have kept the website. It might have been Wikipedia, but it could have been just as any place else. It is a biased opinion of Mary. I don't hold to this, but I want you to see what the world thinks. Mary flourished beginning in the Christian era. So far, so good. The mother of Jesus, venerated in the Christian church since the apostolic age. Venerated, she was a good person, a blessed person, but not a holy person in the Christian church since the apostolic age. Okay, and a favorite subject in Western art, music, and literature. Mary is known from biblical references which are, however, this is the only part of here that I'm going to stick with on this. We're going to read a bunch of more false stuff eventually. Known from biblical reference which are, however, too sparse to construct a coherent biography. There's not enough written about her in the Bible to cover all the stuff that's out there. She didn't kick God out of his seat and sitting next to Jesus up there. She's not doing that. She's human like we are. It shows her belief in God, her faithfulness to God, but it doesn't show her deity. I know, that's wrong. I'll say 3 Hail Marys when I'm done with this video. Okay, the development of the doctrine of Mary can be traced through titles that have been ascribed to her in history of the Christian communions. Guarantee of the Incarnation, Virgin Mother, Second Eve, Mother of God, Ever Virgin, Immaculate, and assumed into heaven. Starting around the 700 or 800 AD, they started saying that she never died, that her body was ascended into heaven. Find that in the Bible, I'll pay you $1,000. A legitimate Bible. She has a number of feast days in various Christian traditions, and it goes on. It is so much. I don't want to make it a point of belittling her contribution. It was great. It's in the Bible. She's the mother of Jesus. She lived throughout the life of Jesus Christ on earth with him. Got to see him, talk to him every day. And she knew who he was and what he could do. And many times he would say to her, "It is not yet time." But she pushed it, as mothers do. Okay, here's some of the other things you can find online. She was an accidental virgin. Nothing God plans is accidental. They don't believe that. The Gospel of Matthew, this is correct, is the only one to tell us that Mary was pregnant before she and Joseph had known each other, as the Bible puts it. That she was a perpetual virgin, even after the birth of Jesus. The fact that there are those considered to be his brothers, there may have been sisters too, but they didn't talk about sisters and females in the Bible that much. It's patriarchal, it's biased. But anyhow, she was considered to be a virgin all of her life. Again, find that in the Bible. She ascended into heaven. She is the sky goddess. I like that term. So, Mary, the mother of Jesus, is unquestionably the senior saint within the Christian tradition. Yeah. You're supposed to pray to Mary if you want something, because she's caring and loving and will answer your prayers. Oh, Jesus? Well, no, no, no. Don't go to him. He'll just talk your ear off. Satan is good at what he does. He's so good that he can take something. Jesus went out of his way not to make her an idol, not to make him an idol, and yet we have him all over the place. He's so good at what he does. In the New Testament, there's nothing about her birth, death, appearance, or age. She's called a young woman. The word young woman is basically assigned to women young enough to still be virgins. Now today that might be 10 or 11, but back then that, could have been 18 to 24, I don't know. The thing is we don't know. And outside the birth of Jesus, that only occur in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. And they're pretty much kind of copying, Matthew was first and Luke kind of copies him and asks questions from other people of what they saw. She is specifically mentioned at only 3 other events in the life of her son. In 30 years, 3 events. She is present at the wedding where Jesus turns water into wine. She makes an attempt to see her son while he is teaching, and she is there at the crucifixion. Mary is mentioned more often in the Quran than in the New Testament. Again, I'm doing my best not to make it seem that she is not worthy of our affection and love and adoration. She is. But she's not what the world has made her out to be. If they can muddy the water, if Satan can muddy the water, he'll do it. It actually lessens somebody's ability. If you focus on the 3 or 4 key points that we've got with her and turn off all the other stuff, she even stands out more. But if you look at the way the history is written about her, it's just a common thing for her. It's no big deal. She does this in her sleep. I don't really want to do any more piling on. The bottom line is, she is, without a doubt, the reason that we have a living Christ here. Okay, I don't need that. She, like others, was chosen because of her faith in God. A faith so strong that the risk of ridicule, stoning to death, that's what they did with women back then. They didn't stone the men, they stoned the women. Again, patriarchal. Sorry. And she ran the risk of driving Joseph off. That's why they both got a vision. The angel came to both of them. He had to. Otherwise, Mary would have just had her side of the story, and it wouldn't have been enough. Because nobody would believe a virgin birth. So Joseph was talked to too. He knew he hadn't, and he wanted to believe her, but he knew she was pregnant. He was going to send her away someplace to have the child, come back, and then marry her at that point probably. That's love. Nowadays, you'd be throwing her clothes out the front door as you're throwing her out now. That's the way people are. They're not forgiving. That was love back then, and it lasted until most people think that Joseph died first. They believed that because there was nobody there at the cross but Mary. And there was nobody to take care of him. That's why Jesus said, your son, mother, there's your son, there's your mother, as he knew he was going to be killed shortly. He made sure there was someone there that he trusted to look after his mother. A very caring God who, in all the attributes you want to assign to Mary, just pick them up and move them and put them on Jesus. Mary had a portion of them, but the source for all those is Jesus. And you sometimes want to push him out of the way to pay attention to Mary, and that's wrong. Focus on Jesus. Jesus is the one we're celebrating. This is Christ Mass, not Mary Mass, although they've tried to do that as well. If you hadn't noticed the connection, it's Christ Mass. It's a Catholic Mass for which they crucified Jesus every time they have a Mass, if you follow along with the Latin. And he said, I only died once. That's why I'm not in any way, shape, or form a Roman Catholic. I can be a Catholic, because one of the variations of Catholic is just to be a follower, not part of the church. It's the church that Jesus didn't like the leaders of, and he still wouldn't like them. The Pope and everybody's just got together and they're going to allow gay marriage. Jesus has known all this is going to come. He's told us about it. He's planned for it. Everything that's happening is all planned for it. He's seen it. He created it. Every step of the way has been created by him. He knows what's going to happen when. Love God, Christ, the Spirit, your family. But you can put Mary up there after those. We owe a lot to her. That was the wind blowing out any remnant of warm air that we might have had. It was warm last night for a while. It got cold this morning, and it's going to be colder in the morning. So I'm going to go. I've already checked out my heater to make sure it works. You got to, if you bring something out of mothballs or out of storage or whatever, check it. Don't get out to the campsite and turn it on and go, oops, it doesn't work. Part of being ready. It's part of you being ready. Don't go out and witness until you know what you're going to talk about. I occasionally will sit down and off the cuff do a reading. And the stories that I've mentioned are in the Bible. You can find them. I could read from them, but I have very limited battery life because there's no power here, and that sun is making it so I can't read anything fine print. I was reading off my teleprompter, which has big bold-faced letters. Otherwise, I couldn't read. So, let me get this out. I don't know how much, I don't know if I can even see this. Yep, it's good enough. It's been too cold and rainy the last few days to find any critters, but I'll try to go out tomorrow and find some. I'm looking at ducks and geese out there on the lake right now. Not the lake, the river. It's a section where it opens up and there's eddies where they can get into. They're just sitting. Some of them are standing on rocks that are sticking up. So I can see them now, and I hear them at night. Enjoy this week. I don't mean to put a damper on anybody who just believed everything about Mary. She deserves all of our accolades, but she deserves them like Noah did in spending 100 years to build a boat that everybody thought he was crazy for. That Moses, who complained to God all the time, Are these the children of Moses or the children of God? And you didn't get to see the promised land because he didn't follow God's exact instruction. He didn't say strike the rock. He already did that. He said talk to the rock, and Moses got mad and struck it, and he didn't get to see the promised land. At your moment of glory, you can still blow it. Keep your eye on God. Keep your heart pure. Don't do things for yourself. Do them for God. You will reap the reward. We're getting out of here soon. I can't tell you when. I wish I could. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's Christmas. Be a good Christmas present. Whatever it is, we're not going to be able to figure it out. I'm sure that when we look back, we'll probably say, oh, if I'd only known that clue was there, I would have known. But I don't think we're supposed to know. And it's not because we're told we're not going to know. That's the second coming. There's just not enough information. It's like Mary. There's not enough information to come to a logical conclusion, so don't. Just be ready. The 10 virgins, remember? Why do you think they were included? Because some weren't ready. Don't be one of those. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.